that your brain is the biggest consumer of energy in your body. And what is the human form? The intellect, the ability to create a future which doesn't exist.
So how to become a straight A student? Having 8 hours of sleep is just feels like too much and I'm just wasting time instead of studying. A lot of students are studying but there is a lot of peer pressure, comparison, low grades.
True.
And we just sometimes we end up being some students suicide.
I'm so glad you said that.
And also there are a lot of talk about 70 hours of work week, 90 hours work week in the media right now.
I don't know of any entrepreneur who created the large, amazing corporate behemoths in India who would have been able to do it had they been working only 6.5, 7 or 7.5 hours every day. कि यार मुझे ज़्यादा काम नहीं करना है तो एक काम करो, सब लोग काम कम करो. I don't want to study for 14 hours, so please let's form a rule. Nobody in IIT will study for more than 6 hours. For you right now, study is life.
Right. So, hello everyone, this is Samad, and on today's podcast, we are going to deep dive into the field of neuroscience with sir and how it relates to students just like you and me. We have with us Kumaar sir. He has experience of over 23 years in this field of neuroscience, and he's going to give us advice about how to increase our focus, concentration, and also our most important thing, mental health. Sir is the founder of Neuroleap. It's a brain assessment and improvement startup, and sir is also founder and advisor of many other startups, but we won't get into it because the intro will be very long, so we will just keep it short. And sir, welcome to the podcast, sir.
Hey, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So let's start with the first question that most of students want, and it's like a very big hyped up topic. So how to become a straight A student? What are some neuroscience based techniques that a student can use to improve his grades?
Well, I first must admit I was not a straight A student. So, but from a neuroscience perspective, what you need to think about is that your brain is the biggest consumer of energy in your body.
Right.
So every time you're reading, thinking, trying to memorize, you're actually using energy.
Right.
So if you keep that in mind, then some of the techniques to ensure good attention, focus, and memorization is great energy management for your brain and body, which means one, ensuring you are well hydrated, right? So let's say if I tell you not to drink water for 24 hours and go out and stand in the sun, will you be able to think clearly?
No, I won't be able to think at all.
Exactly. And at that moment you'll say, oh my God, my maths is weak, I'm not able to memorize, whatever. No, It's not your brain at fault. It is the overall body which is not having enough, hydration. Same goes for overall nutrition, sleep, right? And I'll come to each one of these in a bit. But at the core is, like I said, managing your energy first, right? So if you want to have good focus and concentration, one of the easiest techniques is to study in short bursts.
Right.
And take quick intervals where you take breaks, a short break where you're maybe looking outside the window, stand up, stretch, take a few deep breaths, oxygenate yourself, and then get back to studying. Right? No point sitting in a hunched down posture for hours together. Break it up into 30, 40 minutes. You would have noticed in a lecture as well, after 20, 30, 40 minutes at best, your attention is wavering. The fatigue is setting in, right? So before the fatigue sets in, figure out your pattern. That, usually I start wavering after 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever is that duration. Put an alarm and say, okay, so every 30 or 40 minutes, I'll take a quick 5-minute break and get back.
Yeah. Also, like many students complain about they are not able to focus while studying. They are not able to just sit there and study for X amount of time. Any tips, any techniques that can improve their focus and concentration?
So again, part of that is the mind, body, brain sort of connect. And to help that, like I said, good sleep. So there is enough research now that if you sleep late and if you don't have enough sleep, you are not able to memorize quickly. So I know all of you sleep late, but you have to start sleeping early, right? It's not just the number of hours you sleep, but when you sleep. If you sleep early, you'll wake up early, you can still study the same number of hours, right? But you'll be sharper. your ability to memorize will be better, and your ability to respond and connect the dots, so to say, when you have to respond, will be better. That's one. So sleep.
So you focused on sleep a lot in this conversation. So how much is the minimum amount of sleep a human needs? Like many says like 8 hours of sleep is a really good sleep, but if you are preparing for some examination, having 8 hours of sleep is just feels like too much, and I'm just wasting time instead of studying. Is it a very radical approach, or 8 hours sleep is a good sleep?
Like I said earlier, it depends from individual to individual. I know people who get by with 6 hours of sleep. Some need 9 hours of sleep. So it depends on your own body's ability to rest and repair. The second part is, it's not just the number of hours, but the quality of sleep. So when you wake up in the morning, are you feeling rested or not? Right? Sometimes you feel rested with 6 hours of sleep because you had amazing sleep quality. But I would say, between 6 to 8 hours on an average is needed.
Also, I have a question. Like I read somewhere that if, like, let's say I have to take 7 hours of sleep, so instead I take 6 hours of sleep and do a 1 hour of exercise. Does that compensate the sleep or not?
No.
Or it's just a myth?
Exercise is separate, sleep is separate. Both are required. I don't think you can substitute one versus the other at the bare minimum level. So if you're sleeping 12 hours, then obviously there's something wrong. Unless you are unwell, you're recovering, or you're on medications, or you're healing from an illness, right? But on an average, like I said, 8, 9 hours, 6 to 9 hours, 7 to 9 hours, depending on, how tiring a day you've had, how many hours of physical work did you need to do, how much of rest and repair your body needs.
Also, what are your thoughts on like afternoon naps?
It's great to do that. Just make sure the nap doesn't become a full-fledged 2-hour sleeping session, right? So keep it to a 20-30 minute nap. I think that's a great thing to do. Why? Because if you've woken up early and if you've already worked for 6 or 8 hours, then having a quick 20-30 minute nap is a good rest for the brain and your entire nervous system, and you can get back with the day.
So have a nap, but it should be around 30 minutes, not 2 hours.
Now, if you keep it very long, what will happen is you will not fall asleep on time at night.
Right. All right.
Second is the right nutrition. If you are eating only junk, if your vitamins, minerals, etc. are not in order, you will have issues with concentration, focus, right?
So can you name some fruits or something that everyone can have access to? And
I would say just follow what your mom and your grandmom used to tell you to eat. Just the age-old tenets of good home food. Anything that is prepared very quickly is bad. Anything that stays alive in your kitchen or in your refrigerator for many days or weeks is bad. So food that is prepared in a normal time frame and gets spoiled in a normal time frame, which is closer to nature, just normal, healthy, ghar ka khana, that sort of stuff. Have simple, good food. We are in a country like India where every state, every district has something unique to offer. So, enjoy the spices, enjoy the dal, chawal, idli, sambar, paratha, everything. Have fruits, vegetables, and you'll be fine. The third part is your posture, right? Because we all have access to a phone, we are constantly stooping down, looking into a phone, or hunching and reading. A bad posture leads to cognitive issues as well. So improve your posture, and whilst you're doing it, get some cardiovascular exercise, right? Exercise is one of the best forms to improve memory, focus, concentration as well. So within that exercise bucket, I would say yoga, meditation, breath work, playing a sport, all of that.
Also, in this, let's say I'm studying for a competitive examination, and first of all, I have to put in the work and actually study. And in this era of short form content, there are a lot of distractions like Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and students are just wasting a lot of time on this platform. So how do I overcome these distractions? Are there any techniques that you've seen in your clients or something?
I think the simplest way to overcome distractions is to ask yourself the reason why you need to study, or the reason why you need to work hard, right? Why. The why. As I said in my comments earlier, why do you need to study? So if the answer is because you need to get good grades, why good grades? So you can get a good job, or maybe you need to study so that you can, create a new product or a innovation, or, have your own venture. Whatever the answer is, you will realize at the end of the day, today did I move closer to my why?
Right.
Right? Did I take one step closer to better grades? Did I take one step closer to creating a product or to, starting my own venture? If the answer is yes, and if it's a truthful answer, then great. You could have studied 10 hours and you'd be doing it. You could have studied 6 or 14 and you'd be doing it. If the answer is no, then tomorrow's a new day and you shouldn't waste time and, move towards that why.
Yeah. The most important thing is if you studied hard for a whole year and during exam time you are stressed out and you are not able to write in your answer sheets and your whole year is just worthless.
Sure.
So how do you manage stress during the crucial times? What are some quick tips you want to give?
So one is to focus on your breath. So which is all year round, start doing breath work or pranayam. It's very simple. There are lots of good YouTube videos from good yoga and pranayam teachers. Why? Because if you breathe faster, and that's what anxiety does, right? You will notice that as you're anxious, your heart rate increases. You're taking shorter breaths, which means your brain is also working harder. And your brain is not able to be calm and access the information it has stored in its memory appropriately and put it into, paper. So practice slow, deep breathing. And the simplest way is, if you're breathing in for, let's say, 5 or 6 seconds, inhalation, do an exhalation which is double that duration. So 5 seconds in, 10 seconds out. Do that for a few minutes every day. And do that just before you start, answering your paper. So you're sitting on your exam desk. Before the paper begins, don't waste time. Once your, examiner says that you can start writing, before that, be there in time. Close your eyes for 2 to 5 minutes. Just do slow, deep breaths. Just calm your nervous system down, right? There's enough evidence now globally that having a low resting heart rate, having a calmed nervous system will help you perform better. So that's one easy tip. And the second, like I said, is more at a structural level. So all year round, please maintain a healthy balance between sleep, diet, exercise, studies, right?
So when I was preparing for my JEE examinations, lot of coaching teachers used to tell us to study for like 14 hours, 15 hours. So as you are in the field of neuroscience, how much you think our brain can handle? Like, is it practical to study 14 hours productively? And if it is possible, how to break down these 14 hours and have a productive day?
I would answer it the other way around. One, what holds true for you might not hold true for me. Right? So we all have something called as a cognitive reserve in the brain. Means the ability of the brain to process data and use our cognitive skills properly. So each one's cognitive reserve will be different. Having said that, work backwards. You have 24 hours in a day. You need a certain number of hours of sleep for the brain and the rest of the nervous system and body to rest and to repair. Again, depending on whether it's exam time or regular time, between 6 to 8 hours is good, right? Then work backwards. So if you're doing 8 hours of sleep, you have 16 waking hours left. Can you devote a reasonable amount of timing to 3 genuine good meals a day, 15-20 minutes each, and keep some time for short but quick and effective exercise? Even if it is just a little bit of yoga or a little bit of breath work or a short run or some, any activity which will give your cardiovascular system a quick break, get oxygen in the system, because oxygen is also important for your brain. You're developing a lot of oxidative stress, studying, thinking, etc. So as long as you can formulate a strategy around it, I think, 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours, why not? But you can't keep doing that for years and years and years and years, right? So it'll have to be done in bursts of time. right? There will be durations where after doing this for a certain amount of time, studying so hard for a certain amount of time, you will need to take some breaks where you are spending more time with nature, spending more time on your physical health and overall mental health.
And also there are a lot of talk about 70 hours of work week, 90 hours work week in the media right now. So how do you balance your work and life? Everything?
So look, I don't think you can balance every day, right? And I'm not sure whether it's a good challenge to put yourself up to saying, every day I will have a balanced day, right? We can't compare ourselves to developed economies which are already at a very high per capita, right? I don't know of any entrepreneur who created the large, amazing corporate behemoths in India who would have been able to do it had they been working only 6.5, 7 or 7.5 hours every day.
Right.
I'm not sure, right? India has had an amazing journey in the last decade. And previously, several large, amazing companies were created, but those were created on the back of sheer hard work, grit, determination, right? I keep seeing from a lot of social media influencers, it's become very easy to say, oh, take care of yourself. And it's very easy to start lampooning somebody who's saying work hard, right? And say, oh, you should not be called into work to work hard too much. You should be able to take a day off just because you're not feeling good. So here's the question to you and to all of you, right? Do you all have a mobile phone?
Yes.
You all want good network?
Yes.
Right? You all want electricity 24 hours, 24/7. You want water 24/7, right? You want that once you, go to the toilet and flush, your sewage is taken care of, it goes away, it doesn't come back in, right? You want the gardening in the campus to be fine. Everything, correct? What if I told you that, okay, fine, all of this that, the social media or, a lot of the woke culture is talking about saying, just take care of your mental health. If you don't want to work out, don't work out. If you want to sleep, sleep. You should have work-life balance. Don't work more than 7 hours a day or 8 hours a day, whatever it is. What if all the people in your mobile phone company decide to do that? It's 6 o'clock in the evening. I'm going home. Even if this mobile tower is not working, my time is done.
We won't have anything.
Your electricity company, they suddenly give a policy that, let's listen to all these amazing social media influencers and say, if my workforce decides to take a day off because they are feeling sad and low and depressed, they want a mental health day off, 10% of the workforce today takes the day off. All of that 10% happens to be in the area near Banaras Hindu University, right? Lights off for the next 12 hours. Are you cool with that?
No.
No. So then why are we expecting that things should happen like clockwork?
Right.
Everything should be great. Right. But ज़्यादा काम नहीं करना पड़ेगा. Because we have challenges. We don't have that level of infrastructure yet where things can just move like clockwork. There are issues. So we need to work hard. That's one. Second, we are still a low-income country compared to the global average. So we have huge leaps and bounds to grow. That growth will not happen if we are just cozying up, right? So I don't think anybody should be bothered about saying, oh, should I work 70 or 90 or 60? It's up to you.
Yeah.
It's like IIT. Do you want to just pass or do you want to be a topper?
Right.
You decide, right? In your annual appraisal, do you want to be the guy who's done a lot of hard work, taken on great projects, gone over and beyond the call of duty? It's your choice, right? I don't think any corporate now is going to say you have to do this. Even if they are saying so and you don't want to do it, hey, go get a different job, right? I mean, it's a free market. Right. But let's not make a culture of going to the bottom of the barrel. कि यार मुझे ज़्यादा काम नहीं करना है तो एक काम करो सब लोग काम कम करो. I don't want to study for 14 hours, so please let's form a rule कि nobody in IIT will study for more than 6 hours because it's bad for your mental health and you need to have study and life balance. For you right now, study is life. Right. Of course, add sleep, add exercise, etc. But what is life all about right now? Studying. In your early career, what is life all about? Work. Of course, like I said, put in some amount of care on your physical health, which will ensure that your emotional health, cognitive health is also automatically taken care of.
Yeah. So work hard as much as you can to achieve.
And also take care of yourself.
That's the only thing I do. Yeah. So now let's discuss some very concerning points. Mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of students are studying, but there is a lot of peer pressure, comparison, low grades.
True.
And which just sometimes which end up being some students suiciding. What are some early indications of depression or your mental health is declining? How can we identify that? Because sometimes we are just stressed out and we feel like we are depressed or something. So
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
Right? You remember in the early part of the conversation, I said, what if I don't give you water for 24 hours and you're out in the sun?
Right.
Your symptoms will be exactly like somebody getting anxiety or feeling sad and low and depressed, right? You'll be feeling low, right? Your breath will be different. Your energy will be different, right? At that moment, a diagnosis of these psychiatric issues is a possibility. So same way, you need to start thinking, what am I doing on a day-to-day basis, which is taking care of my body, which is taking care of my brain, mind, body connect, right? Am I sleeping right? Am I eating right? Am I exercising? Am I challenging myself enough, right? If you don't challenge yourself on a regular basis, you will have problems, right? You will not be able to regulate your brain. The self-regulation in your brain will be weak. Why? Because we live in an era where there's instant gratification, right? You want to speak to somebody, you'll message and you'll speak, right? You want to laugh, you'll look at a comedy video, right? You want to see a movie, you'll be seeing a movie within the next 30 seconds, you'll see it on Netflix or whatever. So there is no way for the brain for delayed gratification to work hard on something and then get the sheer joy and pleasure of achieving that, right? So some of the ways is, one, have genuine connections around you. Maybe not always physically because you're in the campus, in the hostel, away from family and your old friends, but cultivate connections around you, be in touch with people who are close to you, who matter to you, share your life. That's one. So connections, human to human connection. Second, like I said, exercise, hugely, hugely important, right? One of the key problems I see today is either people are exercising too much, which is they are going for micro-inflammation on a daily or twice a day basis. They go for 2 workouts in a day, right? They're just going to one extreme. Or they just don't exercise at all because they are studying, they don't have the time, right? But when you don't exercise means, A, you're not giving good oxygenation, you're not producing the right, biochemistry, the right energy. So your brain and body run on bioelectricity, right? And that bioelectricity needs to be replenished and generated. And one of the ways to generate it is better breath work and better exercise, right? Stress, putting your muscles under a little bit of stress, right? Getting the right, fresh air, right? Being close to nature, right? That's one of the easiest ways to heal, being in nature. You're in a lovely campus here at IIT BHU. You're in the midst of nature. Make use of it, right? Walk barefoot on the grass, do some grounding. Be amongst nature, wake up early in the morning, catch sunlight, right? Sunlight is a great way to heal, right? And these are all scientifically proven now, by the way. It's not just spiritual or religious anymore. These are all scientifically proven techniques. Also answer a very serious question that you had posed about people doing self-harm or suicide. Please remember, to everyone who's even contemplating that ever, is that you have a larger purpose in life. You've been given the human form. And what is the human form? The intellect, the ability to create a future which doesn't exist, right? No other species on the planet has that ability to create a future that currently doesn't exist, right? If you've been given that blessing, you've been given that opportunity, that means you also have a responsibility. To fulfill that responsibility, you need to be alive.
Yeah.
Right? So do it for that larger purpose, do it for the universe, do it for your parents, for your loved ones, for your family, friends, teachers, everyone, and don't take that step.
Yeah. Also, do you know some early signs that if someone is suffering from depression or anxiety, depression only, so how do you identify that he is actually depressed and should do something about it, should talk about it?
There are so many signs, right? It's difficult to just quantify a few, but yeah, I mean, you will find sometimes, and it's most of the signs are dichotomous, right? Which means you can't look at somebody and say, oh, he's depressed.
Right.
People might be looking the happiest and most jovial when they are in a group of friends or in class, but who knows what's going on inside. So more than the person who's going through it, my advice would be for everyone is to just be supportive, of everyone just give people a long leash and say, we don't know what they are going through. We don't know their challenges, right? And let's just be there for each other. That's one. And the second I would say is to be able to positively challenge each other and help each other grow. We all are students, right? Competition is a reality, but so is collaboration. If each one of us was only working for ourselves, including the teachers, if the teachers also said, hey, I want to have a great startup, why should I give these ideas to this classroom? They will be my competitors, right? And every student thought, hey, why should I ask this question in the class? Because then this doubt will be cleared for the entire class. Let them be in doubt and I will go and ask my doubts separately. I mean, if each of us just start thinking only and only about ourselves, the world will, be in a really shitty place, right? So let's expand. Let's be more collaborative. Let's look after each other. Let's be there as a person who you can be called upon to listen. Sometimes people just want to know that they have somebody to talk to. It doesn't need to be a conversation around mental health. Your friend doesn't need to come in and say, I am feeling sad and depressed. He might just want in and say, boss, just take a break with me. Just you giving up your studies for 5 minutes for him or her gives them the reassurance that there is somebody there for me. Somebody there doesn't mean कि आप तलवार लेकर उनके लिए लड़ने खड़े हो. आप 5 मिनट उनके साथ ब्रेक ले रहे हो. वही बहुत है, right? Or when you said, hey, yaar, I goofed up. Will you stand up for me? There are lots of things. So more than looking for signs on whether somebody is sad, depressed, or anxious, let's assume that people are going through something, and let's give them that opportunity, of being there.
Yeah. So we have summed up everything about all students' problems and also about the most important thing, probably mental health. So any last tips, sir, for the young audience about their careers, about their life in general?
Well, just work hard. Just work hard, take care of yourself. I'm a firm believer in self-regulation, something we do at Neuroleap using our technology, which is to do those things which are not enjoyable in the short term, right? Which you don't enjoy in the immediate future, but which are good for your long-term future. And which is what all of you are doing. You're studying hard in the short term. You could be partying, doing something, but you're studying hard in the short term, although it is not enjoyable. You wake up early in the morning or you stay awake till late night. You will see one movie less because you want to complete another chapter or 2 chapters or whatever it is. That is self-regulation. The more you can regulate yourself and say, I'm investing in my future, I'm investing in my future, the more you will be able to take anything that life throws at you to say, hey, so what? What if others are enjoying themselves? I have a larger purpose. As long as you can keep chasing a larger purpose, keep aligning yourself to meaning, the why. Why am I here? To do something. Right? Whether it is entrepreneurship, a job, or providing for my family, or paying off a loan, or just creating a great future, there is a why. And just keep asking, chasing that why, and working towards it.
So let's sum it up our podcast. So thank you very much, sir, for coming on the show and giving your valuable time.
Sure.
And that's all. I hope you learned a lot from this podcast and will take care of your health and also your mental health, especially. So that's all. Do like the podcast, comment down below your thoughts or any questions you have, and subscribe to the channel.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Sir, is there any message you just want to give all the
Yeah, I just wanted to tell everyone watching this video is I'm so impressed, with my interviewer and with all the people who are behind the camera. I wish you could just turn around the camera and make sure we get everyone there. So it's so amazing to see young enterprising students who are working hard in their studies and doing something extracurricular, which is not going to give them grades, which might not lead to a job, which might not lead to a startup, but they're just doing it for the sheer joy of doing it and, maybe becoming social media influencers. But congratulations. Great job, guys. And thank you so much for inviting me here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir, for your time.
Thanks.